They don't look at you the same, but they don't know why. The room shifts when you walk in. Not loudly, just slightly. Enough that you feel it. You're not saying much, but something about your presence says everything. People adjust their posture, their tone, their eyes, and you begin to wonder, have I become too quiet, too serious, too much? But what if it isn't you? What if it's the mirror you hold? Just by being real. Carl Jung once wrote, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." And maybe, just maybe, that's why they flinch, why they retreat, why they laugh too quickly when you speak slowly. This isn't about being intimidating. It's about being honest. And honesty, especially the quiet kind, is often mistaken for danger. But you already know this, don't you? You've felt it for years. And you're not alone. Let's begin. They don't say it out loud, but you can feel it. People shift when you walk into the room. Their smiles tighten. Their laughter fades. Conversations die mid-sentence. It's not because you are rude or arrogant or even doing anything wrong. It's because there's something about you, an invisible intensity they cannot explain, but cannot ignore. You ask deep questions. You listen closely. You speak with purpose. And when you look someone in the eyes, they look away. You have been told you are too serious, too intense, that you overthink everything. But what if you are not too much? What if, just like Carl Jung believed your presence is charged with something far more powerful? An aura. Not the fluffy kind, but a psychological force. A silent energy that challenges others without saying a word. Because people are not afraid of you. They are afraid of what you reflect back to them, their own insecurities, their own fears, their own masks. And so they withdraw. They avoid, they gossip, they shrink themselves just to feel safe around you. Not because you are dangerous, but because your energy is honest. And honesty, it unsettles people who are used to pretending. Carl Jung spent his life studying this. The psychic energy that radiates from those who have confronted their shadow and stepped into their true self. If this already feels true in your bones, like something you've felt but never had words for, like this video found you, not the other way around, then pause, breathe, and share this, not for the algorithm, but for someone else who needs to hear it too. And if you want to stay close to this kind of truth, quiet, steady, piercingly real, click like, subscribe, come deeper with us. We're not here to go viral. we're here to go inward. You didn't ask for much, just presence, just truth, just the kind of honesty that doesn't evaporate when the moment becomes inconvenient. And for a while, it felt like you had it. They told you things, deep things, secrets that lived just beneath their surface for years. You didn't ask for much, just presence, just truth, just the kind of honesty that doesn't evaporate when the moment becomes inconvenient. And for a while, it felt like you had it. They told you things, deep things, secrets that lived just beneath their surface for years. You listened not because you were trying to fix, but because something in you wanted to understand. And when they looked at you, really looked, they said things like, "I've never said that to anyone before." You didn't flinch. You didn't rush in with answers. You just stayed. Still, soft, open. And then they disappeared. Not in flames, not in anger, just slowly. The texts stopped. The tone changed. The warmth faded. At first, you wondered, did I do something wrong? Was I too open, too quiet, too much? But no, you did nothing wrong. You just made it real. And not everyone wants real, even when they say they do. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the part of us we bury, deny exile. And when someone awakens that part, even by accident, it can feel like an emotional ambush. You didn't hurt them. You revealed them. And that's far more disruptive, because they weren't ready to meet themselves. But your presence invited that meeting anyway. You never meant to challenge them. You weren't trying to threaten their position. You weren't posturing, performing, or reaching for attention. But something happened anyway. Subtle quiet, unmistakable. You walked in, and suddenly the room rearranged itself. The loud ones went quiet. The confident ones grew cautious, and the ones who held power tensed. You didn't say a word, but your presence said everything. Carl Jung believed that power is not always about dominance. Sometimes it's about integration. When someone has faced their inner chaos, when they've brought their unconscious into awareness, they radiate something more potent than confidence. They radiate self-possession, and self-possession can be terrifying to those who haven't found their own. That's why you feel it. The subtle distance, the polite unease, the invitations that never come. Because when someone cannot locate your insecurity, they don't know how to control you. And when someone cannot define you, they label you instead. Too much, too intense, too serious, too strange. But maybe you were never meant to be understood by everyone. Maybe your role isn't to fit in, but to reflect what others are still afraid to face. That doesn't mean you're better. It just means you're further along. And sometimes, the farther you go inward, the fewer people walk with you. But that's not loneliness. That's becoming. It's not loneliness. Not really. It's something more subtle than that. A quiet space inside you that never quite fills, even when you're surrounded. Especially when you're surrounded. You smile, you show up, you speak when needed. But there's always a part of you that remains elsewhere, watching, listening, waiting for something that never fully arrives. It's not that you don't belong. It's that you belong differently. Carl Jung called it the call of individuation, the slow becoming of your truest self. Not the self the world asked for, the self that remembers. And the more you become that self, the less patience you have for pretense. You feel it now, don't you? The nausea of small talk, the exhaustion of surface connections, the quiet ache that rises after every shallow gathering. It's not snobbery, it's starvation. Your soul is hungry for something deeper, not stimulation, not validation, but resonance. That rare moment when someone doesn't just hear your words, they hear your silence. And in that silence, you feel less alone, if only for a breath. But most days, it's not like that. Most days, it's you carrying this depth like a secret lantern, illuminating the paths of others, while yours remains mostly unwalked. Because very few want to go that deep, and fewer still know how to stay. You're not intimidating. You're just clear. And clarity, real unsettling. Clarity is often mistaken for danger by those who rely on confusion to feel safe. So they keep their distance, or they try to fix you, or they try to change you. But you are not here to be changed. You are here to remember, to peel back the layers, to return to what's most real, even if it costs you comfort, even if it costs you connection. Because at the end of the day, you'd rather be alone in your truth than surrounded in your forgetting. At some point, you stop reaching, not out of bitterness, not out of pride, but because something in you finally understands. You cannot force connection. You can only become more true and let what's meant for you find its way. And even if it takes time, a long, quiet time, you begin to realize you are not empty. You are spacious. That ache you've called loneliness was actually depth looking for a place to echo. Carl Jung once wrote, "Solitude is for me a fount of healing." And maybe that's what this space has been all along, not exile, but incubation. You were never meant to bloom in the crowd. Your roots grow too deep. Your silence is too loud for shallow soil. So you stop apologizing for your gaze, for your gravity, for your longing. You stop trying to be digestible. You let yourself be whole, even if that wholeness unsettles others. Because by now, you know it's not rejection. It's resonance. Your presence is a frequency not everyone is tuned to hear. And that's okay. You are not here to be liked by the many. You are here to be real with the few. So you walk, still, soft, sure. And one day, without trying, you find someone else walking too. They don't rush to fill the silence. They meet your eyes and don't look away. They don't need you to be less so they can feel more. And suddenly, you're not carrying the whole conversation. You're sharing it. You're not absorbing. You're exchanging. No masks, no mirrors, just presence. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it reminds you that your aura was never too much. It was simply waiting for someone who could hold it. And when it happens, you don't question it. You don't overanalyze. You just breathe. Because you've spent so long walking alone that when someone sees you, really sees you, there's nothing to prove, nothing to perform, just two quiet lights recognizing one another in a darkened world. It doesn't fix everything. It doesn't erase the ache, but it reminds you you're not broken. You're just rare. And rare doesn't mean better. It just means you walk a different path. One not paved by approval. One not lit by applause. But one that leads you inward again and again toward the only place truth has ever lived. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, not who they wanted, not who they feared. Who you are beneath the stories, beneath the masks, beneath the noise. And yes, that becoming comes with solitude, but it also comes with clarity, with peace, with a kind of fierce softness that cannot be shaken. You begin to see your aura is not a burden. It is a signal, a quiet beacon for those ready to wake up, to feel more, to go deeper. Some will pull away. Let them. Some will misunderstand. That's okay. But the ones who stay, the ones who meet you in that place of depth, they will feel less alone because of you. And maybe that's the point. Not to be understood by all, but to be unforgettable to a few. So when they say, "You're too much," you smile and whisper back, or maybe I'm just finally enough. If this found you at the right moment, if it spoke a truth you've always known but never named, then maybe someone else needs it too. Like it. Share it. Send it to the one friend who feels the same. And if you want more of this more quit clarity, more soft truth, more light, in dark rooms, subscribe. Not for content, but for company. We don't post often, only when it matters.